Hidden beneath the surface of bustling marketplaces and digital transactions lies a shadowy world, one that thrives in the darkness of deceit and illusion. This universe, where the art of imitation blurs lines with criminal ingenuity, is none other than the intricate realm of counterfeiting. With whispers of secrets exchanged in dimly lit rooms and the gentle hum of machines churning out deceptive replicas, the story unfurls, tracing its origins back through the murky corridors of history. From the moment human societies began assigning value to objects, there existed those who sought to replicate that worth, crafting illusions of authenticity that could deceive even the most discerning eye. Counterfeiting, in its many forms, has served as a silent accomplice to economic upheaval, a clandestine player in the theater of commerce. Its impact is woven into the very fabric of societal evolution, a constant shadow that has prompted innovation and reform across the centuries. At the heart of this clandestine craft lies a pivotal invention, one that inadvertently unlocked new avenues for this age-old practice, the printing press. Invented by Johannes Gutenberg in the 15th century, this revolutionary technology transformed the landscape of information dissemination, turning the tide of history toward what would become known as the printing revolution. For the first time, texts could be replicated with an unprecedented ease and speed, spreading knowledge and ideas far and wide. Yet, with this boundless potential came unforeseen consequences, as it also opened doors to the creation of counterfeit documents, objects that could mimic the genuine with a precision that had once been impossible. In the early days following the invention of the printing press, the allure of counterfeiting beckoned to those who saw opportunity in deception. Primitive as their techniques may have been, early counterfeiters embarked on a daring path, utilizing whatever means available to replicate currency and important documents. Each imprint a calculated risk, each fake a potential fortune. Many notable figures emerged during this era, notorious for their cunning and audacity, leaving behind stories that echo through time, serving as both cautionary tales and intriguing glimpses into human ingenuity. Among these tales is the captivating story of the first recorded use of a printing press specifically for counterfeiting purposes. The mastermind behind this operation, cloaked in mystery and driven by motivations shrouded in the complexities of their time, dared to challenge the economic structures of their society. It was a period marked by social and economic upheaval, where the fabric of society was ripe for manipulation. This venture, bold and audacious, highlighted the delicate balance of a world teetering on the edge of change. Delving deeper into the technique and craftsmanship employed by these early counterfeiters reveals a world where art met subversion. The process of imitation demanded not only a technical understanding of materials but also an artistic flair, a craftsmanship that could rival authentic prints. Each counterfeit piece was a testament to the skills required to deceive, a delicate dance of inks and paper that tested the limits of human creativity. The ripple effect of the first counterfeit printer extended far beyond the confines of its initial impact. Local economies, unsuspecting and vulnerable, felt the tremors of counterfeit currency circulating within their midst. Public reaction ranged from outrage to fascination, as the realization dawned that the very currency upon which they relied could be tainted by falsehood. Authority figures and governments, faced with this emerging threat, were prompted into action, devising strategies to safeguard their economies against this insidious menace. Countermeasures soon emerged, as authorities sought to outsmart the counterfeiters lurking in the shadows. The evolution of security features became a testament to human ingenuity, a perpetual cat-and-mouse game where each side sought to outwit the other. From intricate watermarks to complex holograms, the battle to preserve authenticity evolved in tandem with the very art of counterfeiting it sought to dismantle. Yet, beneath the legal and ethical implications that arose from these battles, a deeper narrative unfolded. The laws that began to shape the realm of counterfeiting not only imposed penalties on those caught, but also sparked public debates around the morality of imitation and deception. These discussions forged new pathways in legal frameworks and public policy, shaping the boundaries of innovation and regulation for generations to come. As we reflect on the legacy of the first counterfeit printer, its impact resonates within modern counterfeiting methods. The advancements in printing technology, fueled by an ever-evolving dance of innovation and regulation, continue to influence the clandestine craft of replication. The historical events that once paved the way for deception now stand as foundations upon which contemporary security measures are built, constantly adapting to the challenges posed by a world where authenticity is both prized and undermined. In contemplating the future of counterfeiting and the eternal battle between counterfeiters and security innovators, we are left with a thought-provoking question. How do we maintain the delicate balance between the freedom of innovation and the necessity of regulation? As technology advances, the answers may lie not in the shadows of the past, but in the light of tomorrow's possibilities. If you enjoyed this story so far, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Imagine a dimly lit room where a single spotlight illuminates a counterfeit bill, its intricate details meticulously crafted to deceive. This is the entrance to a shadowy world where forgery weaves its delicate dance with authenticity, a world as old as currency itself. For centuries, the craft of counterfeiting has evolved alongside the very tools designed to protect against it, forever shifting the landscape of economies and societies across the globe. Long before the digital age, counterfeiting was already a dark art, flourishing in parallel with legitimate printing innovations. The story begins in the 15th century with Johannes Gutenberg's invention of the printing press, a revolutionary technology that democratized information and transformed the world. This remarkable machine, initially a beacon of knowledge and enlightenment, inadvertently opened a Pandora's box of unforeseen consequences. The ability to reproduce text and images en masse meant that, alongside knowledge dissemination, the potential for duplicating anything, including currency, had never been greater. The road from Gutenberg's benevolent creation to the first counterfeit printer was paved with good intentions, yet the shadows lurked, ready to exploit. In the wake of the printing press's introduction, the first tentative steps into counterfeiting emerged. Early counterfeiters, armed with rudimentary techniques, began experimenting with replicating currency and important documents. These pioneers of deception employed primitive methods, but their ingenuity was undeniable. Historical records revealed daring tales of individuals who etched their names into infamy with their counterfeit creations, each story a testament to human cunning and enterprise. As the lure of easy wealth spread, so did the sophistication of counterfeit operations. It wasn't long before the first recorded use of a printing press specifically for counterfeiting purposes came to light, a tale of audacity and innovation. This clandestine endeavor was orchestrated by a mastermind whose motivations were as intricate as the counterfeit bills they produced. Driven by socio-economic conditions of the time, this individual exploited the vulnerabilities of an economy in flux, turning the tide in their favor through guile and craftsmanship. The technical aspects of early counterfeit printing were as much about artistry as deceit. Materials were chosen with care, and the craftsmanship was, in its own way, commendable. These early counterfeiters faced significant challenges in replicating the authenticity of genuine prints, yet through trial, error, and determination, they honed their skills to near perfection. It required an exceptional eye for detail, a steady hand, and an understanding of the printing nuances to produce convincing counterfeit prints that could blend seamlessly into circulation. The impact on society and the economy was immediate and profound. Counterfeit currency, once in circulation, sowed seeds of distrust and instability. For local economies, the influx of fake bills meant inflation and financial chaos. The public, caught in the whirlwind of uncertainty, reacted with a mixture of fear and outrage. This new threat spurred authorities into action, setting the stage for a relentless pursuit of those who dared to challenge the established order through forgery. Governments, recognizing the growing threat, began implementing countermeasures to protect their economies from the corrosive effects of counterfeit currency. Security features in currency and official documents evolved as part of a continuous cat-and-mouse game between authorities and counterfeiters. Watermarks, security threads, and intricate patterns were developed as barriers, each advancement a testament to human ingenuity and the perpetual quest for security. The legal and ethical implications of counterfeiting were as complex as the counterfeits themselves. Those caught faced severe penalties, yet the allure of the trade meant that many were willing to risk it all for a taste of the forbidden fruit. Public perception of counterfeiters swung between admiration for their skill and condemnation for their deception. These dual views influenced legal frameworks, shaping policies and laws that sought to deter counterfeiting while simultaneously acknowledging the inevitability of its persistence. Reflecting on the legacy of the first counterfeit printer, we see how the echoes of this historical act resonate through time, influencing modern counterfeiting methods and security technologies alike. Printing technology has advanced beyond Gutenberg's wildest dreams, continuing to inspire both legitimate and illegitimate uses. The interplay between innovation and regulation remains as relevant today as it was centuries ago, with each side pushing the boundaries in a dynamic balance. The historical events that once paved the way for deception now stand as foundations upon which contemporary security measures are built, constantly adapting to the challenges posed by a world where authenticity is both prized and undermined. In contemplating the future of counterfeiting and the eternal battle between counterfeiters and security innovators, we are left with a thought-provoking question. How do we maintain the delicate balance between the freedom of innovation and the necessity of regulation? As technology advances, the answers may lie not in the shadows of the past, but in the light of tomorrow's possibilities. The allure of counterfeiting draws us into a world where shadows dance with the ambitions of those who seek fortune through deception. Long before the hum of modern machines, the art of counterfeiting was already weaving its tendrils through the fabric of society, leaving its mark on economies and cultures alike. This clandestine craft has been both a reflection of human ingenuity and a testament to the relentless pursuit of profit, regardless of the consequences. From as early as the days of ancient Rome, counterfeiters have preyed upon the unsuspecting, their handiwork echoing through the streets, disrupting trade and commerce. Coins, once the backbone of economic stability, were often replicated, each forged piece a silent testament to the audacity of its creator. By manipulating the currency, these early counterfeiters wielded the power to destabilize entire regions, illustrating just how deeply counterfeiting could cut into the economic veins of a society. The ripple effects of these actions reached far beyond immediate monetary loss. The erosion of trust in a currency could lead to a lack of confidence in governance, fostering an environment ripe for social unrest and upheaval. The consequences echoed through history, a stark reminder of the fragility of our economic systems and the thin line between order and chaos. Yet, it wasn't until the advent of Johannes Gutenberg's printing press in the 15th century that the landscape of counterfeiting experienced a seismic shift. This revolutionary invention, intended to democratize knowledge and spread information like never before, inadvertently opened a Pandora's box. Printed materials, once painstakingly crafted by hand, could now be replicated with unprecedented speed and accuracy. The same mechanism that birthed the Renaissance also laid bare the methods by which counterfeiters could amplify their reach and impact. As the printing press gained traction, so too did the sophistication of counterfeiters. Primitive techniques gave way to more elaborate efforts as the allure of easy wealth drew in those eager to exploit this new technology. The delicate dance between authentic and counterfeit became more intricate, with each side striving to outmaneuver the other. Historical records tell tales of counterfeiters who operated with impunity for years, their operations shrouded in secrecy, their skills honed to near perfection. The first recorded instance of a printing press being explicitly harnessed for counterfeiting marked a turning point in this shadowy saga. It was a story of audacity and ambition, driven by a mastermind whose motivations were as complex as the social and economic landscape in which they operated. These pioneers of deceit were not mere criminals, but often individuals pushed to extremes by circumstances, whether it be poverty, political strife, or the allure of rebellion against an unjust system. The craftsmanship required to produce convincing counterfeits was a testament Oh, the technical prowess of these early counterfeiters. The selection of materials, the precision of printing techniques, and the artistry involved in replicating the intricate designs of legitimate currency or documents demanded a level of skill that rivaled that of legitimate printers of the time. Overcoming the challenges of creating high-quality counterfeits was not merely a technical endeavor, but also a creative one, as counterfeiters constantly innovated to stay ahead of detection. The impact of these activities on society was profound and immediate. Local economies could be thrown into turmoil as counterfeit currency circulated unchecked, leading to inflation and the devaluation of legitimate money. Public trust, once eroded, was difficult to restore, and the specter of economic collapse loomed large over communities already struggling with other pressures. The authorities, often slow to respond, were forced to confront a new and unprecedented threat that demanded innovative solutions. This ongoing battle between counterfeiters and those who sought to thwart them spurred a race for more secure printing methods. Governments, recognizing the existential threat posed by counterfeiters, began to invest in new technologies and security features designed to protect the integrity of their currency. Watermarks, intricate engravings, and later holograms and digital security measures became the new frontiers in this unending struggle. Yet, for every advance in security, counterfeiters found ways to adapt and evolve. The cat-and-mouse game between these two forces became a defining characteristic of modern economic policy and law enforcement. Legal frameworks evolved alongside these technological advancements, imposing harsher penalties and stricter regulations on those caught in the act of counterfeiting. Public perception of counterfeiters varied widely, often influenced by the socio-economic context of the times. In some cases, counterfeiters were seen as folk heroes striking back at an oppressive system. In others, they were reviled as the scourge of society, their actions condemned not just for their illegality, but for the ethical implications of deceit and betrayal. Today, the legacy of those early counterfeiters lives on, a complex tapestry woven into the history of modern counterfeiting methods. The advancements in printing technology that once fueled their operations now form the backbone of our efforts to combat them. As we look to the future, the lessons of the past remind us that innovation and regulation must coexist, each tempering the other to maintain the delicate balance necessary for a prosperous society. This ongoing narrative leaves us pondering the future of counterfeiting. How will technology shape this eternal battle in the years to come? And who will emerge as the victors in this high-stakes game of innovation and deception? As we navigate this uncertain future, we are left to wonder how far we'll go to protect the integrity of our economies while fostering the very creativity that makes us human. In the shadowy recesses where legality blurs into illicit creativity, counterfeiters have long found fertile ground to ply their trade. This clandestine world, rich with tales of ingenuity and audacity, beckons with the allure of forbidden craftiness. Counterfeiting, a craft as old as money itself, has always been a game of cat and mouse, where the stakes are nothing less than economic stability. Spanning centuries, it has woven its way into the fabric of global trade and commerce, leaving indelible marks on societies and economies, all the while evolving with each technological leap. Among the most transformative of these leaps was the advent of counterfeit printers, devices that, while shrouded in illegality, became pivotal in the evolution of counterfeiting. The printing press, a marvel of the 15th century, revolutionized the world in ways its inventor could scarce have imagined. Johannes Gutenberg's creation did more than democratize information. It laid the groundwork for a new era of documentation and replication. With the ability to produce identical copies of a single text, the printing press was a harbinger of the modern age. Yet, in its silent mechanical clatter, it also whispered of an unintentional side effect: the potential for duplication, not just of knowledge, but of proofs of identity and value, the very currency that underpins societal trust. Early counterfeiters, with their rudimentary tools and boundless ambition, seized upon this new technology with fervor. The initial attempts were crude, often relying on hand-painted details to replicate the intricacies of official documents and currency. Yet, As they honed their craft, these early artisans of deception left their mark in history's annals. Stories abound of monarchs and merchants alike being duped by masterfully copied currency, each instance a testament to the counterfeiters' growing skill and the evolving sophistication of their methods. The first recorded instance of a printing press being harnessed specifically for counterfeiting is a tale steeped in intrigue. The mastermind behind this operation was not merely a criminal, but a visionary, someone who saw an opportunity within the constraints of the time. Driven by motivations as varied as they were personal, perhaps discontent with societal inequities, or simply the allure of wealth without labor, this figure stepped into history with a boldness matched only by their technical prowess. This venture, while illicit, flourished in a landscape ripe with economic disparity and social unrest, conditions that have historically been fertile ground for those who challenge the status quo, whether through legitimate or nefarious means. The craftsmanship involved in creating counterfeit prints during this era was not for the faint of heart. It demanded a confluence of artistic talent and technical acumen, a rare blend that separated the amateurs from the artisans. The challenge was not merely in replicating visual elements, but in mimicking the tactile feel of genuine currency. The materials chosen, the inks mixed to perfection, the plates etched with painstaking precision, all spoke to a dedication that, ironically, mirrored the very institutions they sought to undermine. Yet, each successful reproduction was a small victory, a triumph of human ingenuity over institutional safeguards. As these counterfeit prints circulated, the immediate impact on the local economy was profound, creating ripples that extended far beyond the mere falsification of currency. Public confidence waned as the boundary between real and fake blurred, leading to social turbulence and economic unpredictability. In response, authorities and governments found themselves in a new kind of war, one where the enemy was neither tangible nor easily subdued. This was a battle fought not with swords or guns, but with strategy and innovation, each new counterfeit measure prompting a countermeasure in an ever-escalating cycle of advance and retreat. In their quest to safeguard the economy, governments began to implement robust security features, embedding them into currency and documents to thwart would-be counterfeiters. Watermarks, intricate engravings, and eventually holograms became the new standards. Yet, even as these features grew more complex, counterfeiters adapted, their determination unyielding, their methods ever more sophisticated. This relentless back and forth transformed counterfeiting into a high-stakes game of innovation where the rules were always in flux. The legal implications of counterfeiting, harsh though they were, did little to deter those who thrived on its margins. Penalties were severe, yet the allure of quick wealth and the thrill of outsmarting authority proved irresistible to many. The ethical considerations surrounding counterfeiting painted a complex picture, criminals to some, folk heroes to others, highlighting the moral ambiguities that have always colored this shadowy endeavor. Public perception, shaped by narratives both real and romanticized, further influenced the development of legal frameworks designed to stem the tide of forgery and fraud. Reflecting upon the legacy of the first counterfeit printer, we find it etched not just in the annals of history, but in the very fabric of modern counterfeiting techniques. The advancements in printing technology, while serving legitimate purposes, continue to echo in the halls of illicit enterprise, shaping methods that, despite their roots in antiquity, remain relevant today. This historical chapter, a curious blend of innovation and subversion, paved the way for contemporary security measures, highlighting the perpetual dance between creation and control. Looking forward, the battle between counterfeiters and security innovators is set to persist, each side driven by the dual forces of technological advancement and human creativity. How will technology shape this eternal battle in the years to come, and who will emerge as the victors in this high-stakes game of innovation and deception? As we navigate this uncertain future, we are left to wonder how far we'll go to protect the integrity of our economies while fostering the very creativity that makes us human. In the shadows of history, the delicate interplay between innovation and subterfuge unfolds like an ancient script etched onto parchment, where the sharp edges of creativity meet the soft underbelly of deceit. From the dimly lit workshops of the past, where alchemists once toiled over bubbling concoctions, emerged a device that would forever alter the course of human communication: the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg's 15th century invention, a marvel of mechanical genius, stood as the harbinger of an era where knowledge was no longer confined to the elite corridors of power, but was democratically dispensed with each pull of the lever. With this revolutionary apparatus, information flowed as freely as the ink upon its pages, challenging the status quo and seeding the fertile grounds of the Renaissance. Yet amid this enlightenment, a shadow lurked, for where there was creation, so too was their imitation. The ability to reproduce written works not only democratized knowledge, but inadvertently opened a Pandora's box. The specter of counterfeiting, once tethered to the clandestine whispers of forgers hunched over parchment with quill in hand, found new form and vigor. The early days of counterfeiting, born from the cradle of the printing revolution, were marked by crude yet cunning efforts to mimic the intricacies of currency and decrees. Counterfeiters, with their primitive techniques, sought to replicate the symbols of trust and value, leaving trails of deception that challenged the burgeoning economies. Through the annals of time, one finds tales of daring individuals who, with a blend of audacity and skill, etched their names into the pages of infamy. Stories such as those of the notorious William Chaloner, who in the late 17th century bedeviled the English crown with his mastery over metal and ink, underscore the perennial dance between ingenuity and lawfulness. And within this tapestry of intrigue, there came a turning point, a moment when the printing press, a beacon of advancement, was harnessed not for enlightenment, but for subversion. This was the birth of the first known counterfeit printer, a device repurposed by the shrewd and desperate, driven by the winds of economic duress and personal ambition. The mastermind behind this operation remains a figure shrouded in mystery, their motivations perhaps as varied as the hues on a counterfeit note. Yet, it was the societal and economic pressures of the time that often coaxed such ventures from the dark recesses of ambition into the glaring light of history. The art of counterfeiting, like any craft, required both innovation and an understanding of its medium. The counterfeiters of yore, armed with rudimentary presses and a keen eye for detail, faced the daunting task of replicating the nuanced textures and patterns that gave documents their authenticity. The challenges were formidable. The right paper, the correct ink, the perfect alignment, all had to be meticulously orchestrated to fool all those who held the gatekeeping keys of commerce. This required a skill set that was part artisan, part illusionist, as they navigated the delicate balance between the real and the unreal. The impact of these early counterfeit endeavors was as profound as it was unsettling. Local economies, already fragile, were rocked by the influx of fraudulent currency, a blight that sowed seeds of chaos and suspicion. Public reaction varied from outrage to fear, as the very fabric of trust was tested by counterfeiters who had turned the tools of progress into instruments of disruption. Authorities, initially caught off guard by the audacity and scale of these operations, scrambled to respond. The game of cat and mouse had begun, a relentless pursuit that would see the evolution of countermeasures designed to reclaim the sanctity of the printed word. In response to this emerging threat, governments embarked on a journey of innovation, infusing currency and official documents with an array of security features. Watermarks, intricate patterns, and later, holograms became the new standard, a testament to the ever-escalating duel between those who sought to deceive and those who stood as guardians of legitimacy. Legal frameworks, too, evolved in the wake of these events, crafting a landscape where the peril of counterfeiting was met with stringent penalties, reflecting society's collective resolve to preserve the integrity of its symbols of trust. Yet, amid the legalities and ethics, one finds an enduring fascination with the figure of the counterfeiter, a character who dances along the edge of societal norms, challenging the boundaries of innovation and decency. This complex relationship between admiration and condemnation has shaped public policy and perception, weaving a narrative that continues to inform our understanding of legality and morality. The legacy of the first counterfeit printer echoes through the corridors of time, influencing the very fabric of modern counterfeiting methods. As printing technology advanced, so too did the methods of deception, each iteration a testament to the tangled web of human creativity and its consequences. The lessons gleaned from this dance of duplicity have informed contemporary security measures, underscoring the delicate balance between fostering innovation and safeguarding integrity. As we stand at the threshold of future possibilities, one cannot help but ponder the ever-evolving battle between creativity and regulation. In this continuous interplay, the question remains, how will our societies navigate the delicate path between embracing new technologies and defending against those who would turn them to nefarious ends? The saga of counterfeiting, born from the very heart of innovation, is a reminder of the enduring need to balance progress with vigilance, a lesson as relevant today as it was in the dim glow of Gutenberg's workshop. As the dust settles from the tumultuous dance between innovation and exploitation, we journey back to a time when a spark of genius lit up the shadows of the Middle Ages. Johannes Gutenberg, a name that resonates through the corridors of history, stood at the helm of one of humanity's most transformative inventions, the printing press. In the 15th century, nestled in the modest town of Mainz, Gutenberg's creation would forever alter the tapestry of knowledge sharing, its echoes resonating far beyond the boundaries of time and geography. The printing press did not merely emerge, it erupted, a seismic shift from laborious hand copying to the swift, uniform production of text. This marvel of engineering revolutionized the landscape of information dissemination, democratizing knowledge in a way previously unimaginable. Books, once the exclusive domain of the elite, began their journey into the hands of the common man. The Reformation, the Renaissance, these seismic cultural shifts owe a debt to Gutenberg's ingenuity, whose press became the engine of enlightenment and discovery. However, this very tool, designed to bridge ignorance and enlightenment, bore an unintended consequence. The capacity to replicate with precision gave rise to a new, shadowy vocation, counterfeiting. The printing press, in its essence neutral, became a double-edged sword. On one side, a beacon of progress, on the other, a conduit for deception. The seeds of this duality were sown with the first ink-stained fingers that turned from legitimate prints to the clandestine art of replication, testing the limits of technology and morality alike. The nascent attempts at counterfeiting emerged as soon as the potential for profit was realized. Early practitioners were artisans of deceit, employing primitive yet cunning techniques to mimic the nuanced details of currency and official documents. Each forged piece told a tale of ambition and defiance against the established order. Yet, with each stroke of counterfeit ink, they also etched a legacy of audacity and peril that would invite the wrath of authorities. Among these early counterfeiters, tales abound of elusive figures who danced on the edge of law and legend. Their craft was one of meticulous detail, a testament to their understanding of both the art they mimicked and the artifice they created. The ingenuity required to deceive was matched only by the risks they embraced, knowing that discovery meant ruin. Yet their stories weave a compelling narrative of human ingenuity and the complex dance between creation and imitation. In this intricate tapestry, the first documented counterfeit printer stands as a pivotal figure, a daring innovator who dared to test the boundaries of Gutenberg's legacy for personal gain. Motivated perhaps by necessity, perhaps by greed, this individual exploited the burgeoning technology, forging a path that would leave an indelible mark on society and economy. Their story unfolds not in isolation, but against a backdrop of social and economic strife, where opportunity and desperation often walked hand in hand. The craftsmanship of these early counterfeiters was a delicate balance of technique and bravado. Facing the daunting challenge of replicating the intricate designs and watermarks that authenticated currency, they became pioneers of subterfuge. The materials they manipulated, the methods they devised, spoke to a deep reservoir of skill and ingenuity. Their work was a testament to the human spirit's capacity to adapt and innovate, even in the shadows. As counterfeit currency flowed, its impact rippled through the fabric of society, unsettling economies and inciting public unrest. Communities grappled with the dissonance of trust eroded, as the very mediums of trade and value became suspect. Local economies faltered under the weight of this deception, as counterfeit notes eroded confidence and stability. The social fabric strained under the pressure, as citizens and officials alike sought to navigate this new and unsettling reality. Governments, confronted with this burgeoning threat, embarked on a relentless quest to safeguard their economies from counterfeiters' machinations. The evolution of security features became a strategic imperative, a race to outpace those who sought to undermine stability. This ongoing cat-and-mouse game sparked innovations in design and detection, each new countermeasure a testament to human resilience and adaptability in the face of cunning adversaries. The legal landscape, too, evolved in response to these challenges. The penalties for counterfeiting grew increasingly severe, reflecting society's resolve to protect its economic lifeblood. Yet, amidst the harsh realities of law enforcement, ethical questions lingered, questioning the balance between punishment and understanding the motives behind such daring ventures. These considerations not only shaped the legal frameworks of their time, but also informed our current policies and perceptions. As we reflect upon the legacy of the first counterfeit printer, we see a narrative that extends far beyond their immediate impact. Their actions, driven by the same human impulses that fuel innovation, echo in the ongoing battle between counterfeiters and the guardians of authenticity. The advancements in printing technology, both a boon and a bane, continue to influence the art of deception and the science of detection. This historical epoch laid the groundwork for contemporary security measures, an enduring testament to the interplay between creativity and control. In the end, we find ourselves poised on the cusp of future possibilities, where the struggle between counterfeiters and security innovators persists in an ever-evolving dance. As we ponder the path forward, we are invited to consider the delicate balance between embracing the potential of new technologies and safeguarding against their misuse. In this, we find a timeless lesson, as pertinent now as it was. In the flickering light of Gutenberg's workshop, the pursuit of progress demands vigilance against the shadows it may cast. With the dawn of the printing press, the world stood on the brink of an unprecedented transformation. Picture a time when information was a treasure, locked away in the minds of the learned or scrawled painstakingly by hand onto precious parchment. Enter Johannes Gutenberg, whose invention in the 15th century flung open the doors to a new era of enlightenment, allowing words and ideas to flow freely like never before. This ingenious contraption reshaped how knowledge was shared, breaking the barriers of locality and literacy, and in doing so, it unknowingly planted the seeds for a new kind of subterfuge. As the press began to clatter and hum across Europe, the clamor of printed pages echoed a profound change. Information, once the privilege of the elite, cascaded into the hands of the common man. Books, pamphlets, and newspapers became the vehicles of change, fueling the fires of Reformation and Revolution. Yet, amidst this surge of democratized knowledge, a darker potential simmered beneath the surface. The very power that could enlighten and liberate also offered tools to deceive and mislead. In the same breath that literacy expanded, so did the possibilities for the cunning to exploit these new avenues. Imagine the early counterfeiters, like artisans of mischief, drawn to the press not just for its ability to inform, but for the hidden promise it held for those with less virtuous intentions. The earliest attempts at counterfeiting, though primitive by modern standards, were bold ventures into uncharted territory. These pioneers of forgery crafted their illusions, meticulously replicating currency and official documents with a dedication that equaled that of their legitimate counterparts. Their methods, though rudimentary, were enough to sow confusion and chaos, sowing the seeds of distrust in a society still grappling with the implications of this newfound accessibility to information. In this shadowy dance, some individuals emerged whose stories would resonate through the ages. Notable among them were figures who dared to challenge the very fabric of trust that held economic systems together. Their motivations varied, from mere survival to outright rebellion against systems perceived as unjust. These early counterfeiters operated in an era of societal upheaval, where the lines between right and wrong were often blurred by the desperation of the times. Social and economic conditions played a pivotal role, as the press itself became a symbol of both progress and peril. To understand the allure of counterfeiting in this nascent age of print, one must appreciate the craftsmanship it required. The meticulous process of creating counterfeit prints demanded not only a mastery of the mechanical, but also an understanding of the aesthetic nuances that lent authenticity to the genuine article. These artisans of deception faced challenges that might seem insurmountable today. They labored over plates and inks, striving to mimic the subtle details that could fool even the most discerning eye. This dedication to craft was, in itself, an art form, an unsanctioned branch of the very technology that promised to enlighten the masses. As counterfeit currency began to circulate, its impact rippled through local economies like a stone cast into a still pond. Communities, unaware of the deceit at play, found themselves grappling with the implications of this new and disconcerting phenomenon. Public reaction ranged from outrage to incredulity, as people wrestled with the betrayal of trust once held sacred. The authorities, confronted with this burgeoning threat, were compelled to respond with measures both immediate and innovative, setting the stage for a long-standing battle between counterfeiter and enforcer. In their quest to protect the integrity of currency and documents, governments embarked on a journey of security advancements. The cat-and-mouse game that ensued gave rise to a series of countermeasures designed to outwit the forgers. From watermarks to intricate engravings, each new development represented a step forward in the ongoing saga of security versus deception. Yet even as these measures evolved, so too did the techniques of those determined to circumvent them, creating a perpetual cycle of one-upmanship that persists to this day. The legal and ethical dimensions of counterfeiting emerged as critical elements in this unfolding narrative. The consequences for those who dared to forge were severe, as legal frameworks evolved to address the unique challenges posed by this new crime. Public perception of counterfeiters oscillated between viewing them as opportunistic criminals and occasionally as anti-establishment folk heroes challenging the status quo. These perceptions swayed public policy and informed the legal landscape, underscoring the complex interplay between law, morality, and the human propensity for innovation. Indeed, the legacy of the first counterfeit printer is a testament to the dual nature of technological progress. The very advancements that paved the way for modern counterfeiting methods also spurred the development of ever more sophisticated security features. This historical precedent continues to influence contemporary approaches to safeguarding against forgery, highlighting the enduring impact of those early days of print. As we look forward, we find ourselves at a crossroads where the pursuit of innovation must be balanced with the imperative to regulate and protect. In closing, the journey through the annals of counterfeiting reveals a story as much about human ingenuity as it is about the boundaries of legality and ethics. The evolution of printing technology remains a beacon of progress, a reminder of our capacity for both creation and deception. As the battle between counterfeiters and security innovators marches on, one cannot help but ponder the future. A landscape where technology continues to advance at breakneck speed, challenging us to remain vigilant in safeguarding the truths we hold dear. As the world embraced the printing press, a revolution in information dissemination unfolded, enabling ideas to spread like wildfire. This tool of enlightenment, however, bore an unintended shadow. The very technology that democratized knowledge also introduced the means to replicate documents with unprecedented ease, a prospect that some saw not merely as an opportunity, but as a new frontier in deception. The printing press, thus, inadvertently sowed the seeds for counterfeiting, a practice as old as commerce itself, now equipped with a device that could mimic authenticity with unnerving accuracy. The emergence of counterfeit documents became an inevitable side effect of this technological leap. Suddenly, charters, decrees, and even currency, which had once been safeguarded by meticulous handcraft, were vulnerable. Early counterfeiters, driven by ingenuity and necessity, seized this chance to forge their way into history, using a blend of rudimentary materials and cunning. Pioneers of forgery, they utilized the press to replicate the contours of legitimacy, their creations slipping into circulation to the dismay of merchants and monarchs alike. Figures like William Coloner, a notorious counterfeiter of the late 17th century, exemplified this shift. Coloner mastered the art of duplicating banknotes and coins, exploiting the gaps in newly industrialized systems. His operations not only challenged the economic stability of nations, but also forced authorities to reconsider their methods of production and distribution. These early counterfeiters, with their homemade presses and innovative techniques, made it clear that the rules of commerce had changed forever. The clandestine world of counterfeit printing was a delicate dance of skill and audacity. Early forgers were faced with the daunting task of replicating the intricate details of official documents and currency. Mastering this craft required a deep understanding of the materials at hand, from the texture of papers to the precise blend of inks. Each forged piece was a testament to meticulous craftsmanship, where a single misstep could spell ruin. Yet, in overcoming these challenges, counterfeiters inadvertently drove advancements in printing technology and materials, as they sought ever more convincing methods to disguise their fabrications as truth. As counterfeit currency began to flood small economies, the repercussions rippled far beyond the confines of the printing rooms. Communities were thrown into disarray, trust eroded in markets, and the value of genuine currency wavered, sparking economic instability. In response, governments grappled with this new form of threat, scrambling to devise countermeasures that could outpace the counterfeiters' ingenuity. The issuance of new, more secure forms of currency became a priority, with authorities developing enhanced security features in a bid to safeguard economic integrity. This cat-and-mouse game between counterfeiters and law enforcement forced a rapid evolution in the design of banknotes and official documents. Watermarks, intricate patterns, and eventually holograms became the frontline defense in this ongoing battle. Each technological advancement in security was met with a corresponding leap in counterfeit methods, a testament to the relentless creativity on both sides of the law. The legal and ethical dimensions of counterfeiting also came under scrutiny, as societies weighed the balance between punishment and prevention. Those caught in the act faced severe penalties, serving both as a deterrent and a grim reminder of the stakes involved. Public perception of counterfeiters oscillated between vilification and grudging admiration for their resourcefulness. This complex narrative influenced not only the development of legal frameworks, but also public policy, shaping the discourse on intellectual property and the boundaries of innovation. Reflecting on the legacy of the first counterfeit printer, we see its fingerprints in today's sophisticated forgery and anti-counterfeiting measures. The challenges of the past have informed modern practices, leading to a more nuanced understanding of the interplay between technological advancement and ethical responsibility. As we forge ahead into a digital age, the historical dance between counterfeiters and authorities continues to echo, reminding us of a time when the printing press first blurred the lines between authenticity and artifice. The tale of counterfeiting is one of perpetual motion, an ever-evolving interplay that mirrors our broader struggle with the consequences of innovation. While the tools may have changed, the core dilemma remains: how do we harness technology's potential while safeguarding against its misuse? As we ponder this question, the story of the counterfeit printer serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between progress and preservation, urging us to remain vigilant and thoughtful stewards of the tools we create. Here, past and future converge, forging a narrative that speaks to the heart of human endeavor, a testament to our ability to innovate and the responsibility that comes with it. As the saga of counterfeiting continues to unfold in new, unexpected ways, it invites us to reflect on the enduring quest for balance in a world governed by change. In the shadowy realm where ingenuity meets deception, we journey back to a time when the ink was still fresh from Gutenberg's groundbreaking invention. The printing press, hailed as a beacon of knowledge and enlightenment, also illuminated a darker path some dared to tread. As the printed word spread like wildfire across Europe, so too did the realization that the same technology could be bent to less noble purposes. The allure of wealth and power proved too enticing, and thus began the tales of early counterfeiting efforts, where the ink-stained hands of history's rogues reached out to seize fortunes not rightfully theirs. The initial forays into this world of mimicry were clumsy, yet bold, as counterfeiters attempted to replicate currency and critical documents. Their methods were rudimentary, often starting with the most basic tools, a primitive press, ink concocted from soot and oil, and paper that barely mimicked the texture of its official counterparts. Yet in an era where the public's eye was untrained in detecting such deceit, even these crude imitations could circulate with surprising efficacy. Among the earliest counterfeiters were those who saw opportunity in the chaos of war and political upheaval. As kingdoms clashed and borders blurred, the need for rapid, convenient commerce became a fertile ground for fakes. Notable figures emerged, some driven by desperation, others by sheer audacity, crafting coins and notes with care that belied their criminal intent. These figures, often anonymous ghosts in the annals of history, were the architects behind the facade, creating a parallel economy that thrived in the undercurrents of legitimate trade. The printing press, a double-edged sword, democratized knowledge while challenging the very foundations of trust and security. As these early counterfeiters honed their craft, they developed a keen eye for detail. Forged documents bore seals and signatures that at a glance held the weight of authenticity. The counterfeiters' ingenuity lay not just in replication, but in their understanding of human perception, knowing what the eye expected to see and exploiting the subtleties that most would overlook. The legends of these early counterfeiters are often interwoven with tales of intrigue and high stakes. In the dimly lit workshops, hidden away from prying eyes, the sound of presses echoed, and every successful forgery was a small triumph against authority. These clandestine operations, while illegal, reflected a profound understanding of the burgeoning print technology and an adeptness that rivaled legitimate artisans. Yet, even as they reveled in their illicit successes, these early counterfeiters faced formidable challenges. Replicating the intricate designs and watermarks that adorned currency required not only skill, but also innovation. They had to navigate the delicate balance of creating something that appeared genuine without the resources or support that legitimate printers enjoyed. Our ability to produce convincing counterfeits was a testament to their craftsmanship, a skill that, in another life, might have earned them accolades rather than infamy. This clandestine activity did not go unnoticed. The spread of counterfeit currency inevitably disrupted local economies, sowing seeds of distrust and uncertainty. As counterfeit notes and coins circulated, they threatened the financial stability of entire regions, leading to inflation and a loss of faith in the monetary system. The ripples of these acts extended beyond mere economics, touching the social fabric and challenging the integrity of institutions built on trust. Authorities, recognizing the threat posed by these early counterfeiters, began to respond with urgency. The race to outwit the forgers led to the introduction of various security measures aimed at fortifying currency and documents. While these efforts were often reactive, they marked the beginning of an ongoing game of cat and mouse, where each advance in security was met with a counter by those determined to slip through the cracks. Even as these early counterfeiters were pursued, captured, and sometimes even executed, their legacy endured. They were the unwitting pioneers of a shadowy craft, their exploits serving as cautionary tales and lessons for future generations. The techniques they developed laid the groundwork for more sophisticated operations, and their stories became the stuff of legend, reminders of the thin line between creativity and criminality. Reflecting on this period, one cannot help but marvel at the complex interplay of technology, ambition, and morality. Early counterfeiting efforts were as much about human ambition as they were about human fallibility. They highlight the perpetual tension between innovation and exploitation, a dance that continues to this day in myriad forms. As we trace our fingers over the faded ink of history, we find that these stories echo into the present, reminding us that with each step forward in technology comes the potential for shadowed paths and untold consequences. And so, as we ponder the legacy of these early counterfeiters, we are invited to consider our own relationship with innovation and integrity. In a world that constantly evolves, where technology advances at an unprecedented pace, how do we navigate the fine line between progress and peril? It is a question that lingers, urging us to seek balance in a world ever poised on the brink of transformation. The shadows lurking within the corridors of innovation often mask intentions as murky as the ink they spill. As Gutenberg's press rolled out its first pages, a new era unfolded, not only for the spread of literacy and ideas, but also for the darker arts, those that sought to mimic the genuine with the guileful sleight of hand. Imagine the thrill of early counterfeiters, those audacious pioneers who, with a blend of curiosity and a pinch of mischief, saw in the printing press a tool of opportunity, one that could be wielded to great effect in an age where authenticity was not yet cloaked in security markings and holograms. The endeavor was simple in concept, yet deceptively complex in execution. To replicate the symbols of power and trust, be it currency or decrees, with nothing more than ink and paper. In these clandestine workshops, nestled away from prying eyes, the alchemy of forgery began. With rudimentary tools and a keen eye for detail, counterfeiters embarked on a journey to mimic the filigreed edges and intricate watermarks of legitimate currency. Each stroke of the press was a gamble, a careful balance of skill and subterfuge. Theirs was an art form born of necessity and daring, where failure was not merely a setback but a doorway to perilous consequences. History whispers names like that of the notorious William Chaloner of the 17th century, who, with a deft touch and a mind sharp as a blade, managed to unsettle the English mint, leaving a legacy that echoes through the annals of counterfeit lore. Yet even Chaloner's cunning was but a single ripple in the expansive pond of duplicity that stretched across continents. As the press perfected the dissemination of knowledge, it inadvertently laid the foundation for these early artisans of deception to refine their craft. The task was formidable. Replicating the intricate designs of banknotes required more than just technical prowess. It demanded an understanding of the visual language that conveyed legitimacy and trust. The counterfeiters of yore were not mere criminals in pursuit of quick wealth. They were artisans, students of human psychology, who understood that the true key to success lay in the minute details, the tiniest imperfections that, paradoxically, lent authenticity to their forgeries. The world, meanwhile, turned on its axis, oblivious to the silent revolution being wrought in the shadows. Every successful counterfeit bore the potential to tip the scales of economy and trust. Yet this burgeoning threat did not go unnoticed for long. As whispers grew louder and the telltale signs of fraudulent notes began to seep into commerce, an uneasy awareness spread through the echelons of power. The ramifications were profound, instigating a game of cat and mouse that would span centuries. Governments began to awaken to the necessity of safeguarding their economic symbols, heralding the dawn of a new era of security enhancements and anti-counterfeiting measures. It was a game played the escalating stakes, each side constantly innovating, forever attempting to outwit the other. The initial countermeasures were rudimentary, yet effective, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of adversity. Watermarks, intricate engraving techniques, and the use of unique fibers in the paper were but a few of the deterrents employed to thwart the efforts of these early counterfeiters. Each new development was matched by the counterfeiters' relentless pursuit to innovate and adapt, a perpetual duel of wits that would persist through the ages. The societal implications of counterfeiting were as profound as they were far-reaching. The circulation of forged currency stirred unease in communities, casting a shadow of doubt over daily transactions. As public trust wavered, authorities were forced to grapple with the dual challenge of maintaining economic stability while restoring faith in the symbols of commerce. It was a delicate dance, one that demanded not only technological advancements, but also a reconsideration of legal frameworks and societal norms. In the quiet corners of history, the ethical dimensions of counterfeiting began to take shape. These early practitioners, though seen as outlaws, were often viewed with a mix of fear and begrudging respect. Their exploits challenged the status quo, prompting a reevaluation of laws and penalties, and inadvertently shaping public policy in ways unforeseen. As legal systems evolved to address these new realities, they laid the groundwork for the complex tapestry of modern anti-counterfeiting regulations that strive to strike a balance between deterrence and punishment. Reflecting on those early days, it is evident that the legacy of the first counterfeit printer extends far beyond mere imitation. It set in motion a chain of events that would push the boundaries of printing technology, transforming it into a tool of both creativity and caution. The relentless pursuit of authenticity has driven innovation in ways that continue to influence contemporary security measures, ensuring that even as the tools of forgery evolve, so too do the mechanisms to counter them. In the ever-evolving landscape of technological advancement, the narrative of counterfeiting serves as a reminder of the dual-edged nature of innovation. As we stand on the precipice of future possibilities, the lessons of the past urge us to remain vigilant, to balance progress with prudence, and to ponder the eternal question of how best to navigate the thin line between creation and deception.